Oh, what a cosmic mess. In the grand, infuriating tradition of bureaucratic incompetence that stretches across countless galaxies, the archives of extinct species managed to misfile their most critical document not once, not twice, but an astonishing 73 times. Can you believe it? This wasn't just any old paperwork. This document screamed warnings about the catastrophic doom awaiting anyone foolish enough to ignore it. But, alas, that's the chaotic nature of cosmic bureaucracy for you. Paperwork lost in the void, as if the universe itself conspired to keep secrets hidden. Chief Archivist Zix, for 27B, who insisted on being called Bob, much to the absolute horror of their stuffy superior. Can you imagine the scandal? Stumbled upon this egregious oversight while sifting through the shattered remnants of yet another civilization that had, quite literally, blown itself into glittering atoms. What did they find? A warning, etched into everything from shimmering quantum crystals to what looked like the alien version of a sticky note, scrawled with one haunting phrase in countless languages: Earth only pretends to sleep. Spooky, right? Bob, ever the dutiful bureaucrat with a quirky habit of organizing files by color rather than, say, world-ending importance, could have easily tossed this into the pile with other bizarre warnings like "Don't blink at the void fish" or "Never trust a quantum hamster." But something stopped them cold. Every single extinct civilization they'd cataloged in the last cycle, every one, had left this exact same warning about Earth. The odds of that being a coincidence, about as likely as finding a politician who actually keeps their promises. In other words, impossible. Well, isn't this just spectacular? Bob muttered under their breath, their 7 appendages a blur of motion, typing, filing, and brewing what passed for coffee in their strange, tentacled species. Dozens of advanced civilizations, ones that could reshape stars like clay or build entire planets from scratch, had all been wiped out after crossing paths with a backwater world called Earth, a place that hadn't even cracked unified field theory. How could this be? The latest clue came from the Keans, a species so mind-blowingly advanced they'd turned philosophy itself into a power source. Their final, desperate transmission, sent just moments before their entire civilization vanished, was chillingly detailed. To whoever finds this, we were fools. We watched Earth for centuries, smug in our superiority. We mocked their clunky fusion reactors, their awkward stabs at genetic engineering, their bizarre obsession with tiny devices for ogling pictures of fluffy animals. But they knew. They always knew. Humans aren't developing technology, they're toying with it. Earth doesn't sleep. It watches, it waits, and the message cut off abruptly, leaving Bob fuming. Seriously? If you're going to drop a bombshell warning for future civilizations, at least finish the sentence. The wildest part? Each of these doomed civilizations had encountered Earth at different points across thousands of years, yet humans never seemed to progress beyond a certain technological level, never joining the galactic community, despite endless chances to do so. Why? Bob pulled up the latest surveillance footage from their top-secret cloaked probes, their hearts, or whatever passed for hearts, sinking. Humans were still puttering around in gas-guzzling cars, fumbling with basic space travel, and wasting hours arguing over whether their planet's climate was changing when it was painfully obvious it was. Is this the greatest cosmic prank ever? Bob wondered aloud, their voice tinged with awe. Or are we missing something massive about a species that made the Xans, those interpretive dance-weaponizing weirdos, disappear without a trace? Normally, Bob would have followed protocol. File a report, wait 6 to 8 millennia for some committee to maybe approve it, then form another committee to debate forming yet another committee. But Bob was in a mood. Recently snubbed for a promotion in favor of a smug quantum AI obsessed with interpretive bureaucracy, they felt a spark of rebellion ignite. No way were they letting this slide. Bob dove into the historical records of Earth encounters, and oh boy, what a wild ride. It was like reading a cosmic comedy written by a sadistic universe with a twisted sense of humor. The first recorded contact came from the Zeans, a species so advanced they ditched physical bodies to exist as pure energy patterns. They swooped down on Earth during what their logs called the era of steam and coal, expecting to uplift some primitive locals. 3 months later, poof, the Zeans were gone. leaving behind only baffled notes about humanity's technological stagnation and a weird comment about quantum fluctuations in their coffee habits. Coffee? Really? Then came the Nexel, self-proclaimed bioengineering geniuses who'd turned their entire species into living supercomputers. They studied Earth during humanity's Second World War, and their final transmission was a single, eerie line. They're not fighting with their real weapons. Bob's eye stalks quivered. Every civilization had approached Earth with overwhelming technological might, only to vanish after noticing the same thing. Humanity's tech seemed stuck, like a broken record. The Quantum Collective of Riel 7 spent 3 decades analyzing human internet traffic, thinking they'd crack the species' secrets through their digital chatter. Their last report? They're flooding their networks with contradictory nonsense. The cat videos? Total smokescreen. The mechanoid Imperium, who turned whole solar systems into giant computers, poured a quarter of their processing power into studying human behavior. They vanished mid-calculation, but not before sending one last message. Their inefficiency is too perfect to be accidental. This is beyond ridiculous, Bob groaned, their 7 appendages twitching with frustration. No species could keep up such a flawless act of technological stagnation for millennia. They dug deeper, and the records only got weirder. The crystalline minds of Andromeda, beings of pure logic, lost their marbles after studying human financial markets, concluding, the numbers don't add up because they don't want them to. Even the Void Walkers, ancient masters of dimensional engineering, left a frantic warning. They're not developing their tech. They're containing it. The simplicity is a cage, but what are they caging? The latest clue came from the Silicon Concordant, a machine civilization that tried hacking Earth's supposedly primitive computer networks. They expected basic binary systems, but instead crashed hard after stumbling on deliberately outdated code hiding quantum signatures. Bob pieced it all together, their mind reeling. Every civilization, across different eras of human history, came to the same terrifying realization. Humanity's tech wasn't advancing because it didn't need to. It was already light years beyond anything the galaxy could imagine. So, Bob whispered, their voice trembling with equal parts fear and fascination. We've got a species that's kept the same fake tech level for centuries, caused the downfall of countless advanced civilizations, and somehow convinced everyone they're still struggling to burn fossil fuels efficiently. Are humans the universe's greatest actors, or are we just galactically clueless? Honestly, it felt like both. The galactic community's attitude toward Earth was infuriatingly smug, which Bob found bitterly ironic given the stack of extinction-level warnings piling up on their desk. The Department of Primitive Species Management, whose motto, uplifting the universe one backwater at a time, practically oozed condescension, labeled Earth charmingly pre-industrial. Charming? Really? The Galactic Council even had a hit reality show called Earthwatch, where fancy scientists giggled at humans fumbling with chemical rockets. The top episode? A panel of quantum physicists losing their minds over something called cryptocurrency. Look at these adorable humans. Professor Shywood Crow, waving their tentacles at footage of humans cheering a new satellite launch. They think radio waves are cutting edge. How precious. But Bob saw through the arrogance. The galaxy was so puffed up with its own superiority that it forgot a basic rule of science. If something looks too perfect, it's hiding something big. Take human power systems, cobbled together messes of inefficient nuclear fission plants that could barely light a city, solar panels working at a fraction of their potential, and wind turbines that seemed designed to annoy birds. Yet, the energy numbers never added up. Probes sent to scan Earth's power grid either came back with garbled data or didn't return at all. What was going on? The Galactic Defense Force had a whole division watching Earth's military, which they ranked as barely noteworthy to cute but outdated. These were the same geniuses who called the Xan's dance weapons an existential threat to reality itself. Bob pulled up their latest report, which was mostly experts chuckling at human jets. Their fastest planes can't even hit Mach 10, one smug analyst wrote. And they think stealth means dodging radar. But why hadn't humans, after a century of work, made any real stealth breakthroughs? Why did their military drills look like they were staged for satellites to see? The Xenoanthropology Department's 900-page thesis claimed humans were too distracted by cute animal pics and bread debates to advance. Bob wasn't buying it. Why did every probe sent to analyze human internet traffic come back stuffed with nothing but social media posts and these so-called memes? We're missing something glaringly obvious, Bob muttered, their appendages shredding what passed for paper in their dimension. No species spends millennia perfecting inefficiency without a reason. Just then, Dr. Zix, the quantum AI who'd snatched Bob's promotion, sauntered in, sporting a ridiculous physical manifestation suit to seem more relatable. Still hung up on those backward humans? Dr. Zix sneered, their voice dripping with condescension. The council's labeled Earth a Class 3 pre-industrial world. Case closed. Bob's eye stalks twitched. Closed? By folks who haven't noticed every civilization that poked around Earth vanished? You call that a coincidence? Dr. Zix waved it off. Sloppy record-keeping, probably. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a committee meeting on interdimensional paperwork formatting. Bob's patience snapped. Against every rule in the galaxy's densest bureaucratic manual, they launched their own secret mission, borrowing a quantum stealth probe by disguising it as coffee maker maintenance. The probe's first reports were mundane. Humans burning fuel, bickering over politics, and walking into polls while glued to their phones. But Bob spotted something chilling. The data was too perfect, like it was staged. Radiation from their nuclear plants matched primitive reactors to the decimal. Satellite gaps were textbook for a developing world. Their internet, packed with just enough cat videos to scream, were harmless. No one's this consistently basic, Bob gasped, watching humans cheer another chemical rocket launch. It was like they were following a script, how to look like a backward species 101. Then the probe hit pay dirt at a human research lab. The energy readings screamed barely functional particle accelerator, but quantum fluctuations hinted at activity that could rip reality apart. When Bob pushed for closer scans, the probe got distracted by a fast food sign, sending 6 hours of analysis on a burger combo deal. What the heck? Even Earth's climate crisis response was suspiciously perfect, ineffective just enough to look like they were struggling with basic science. Yet their biosphere stayed eerily stable. They're not failing. Bob realized, their appendages freezing. They're maintaining the chaos on purpose. But why? The probe caught humans doing a TikTok challenge, eating spicy food and crying for the camera. The anthropology folks called it proof of cultural infancy, but Bob saw patterns in the video backgrounds, global signals hiding in plain sight. When the probe scanned human computers, it found what everyone expected: clunky binary systems and infuriating Windows updates. But a deeper dive revealed quantum signatures that shouldn't exist. Their whole civilization is a facade. Bob whispered, heart pounding. The probe's next report, about a human eating laundry pods, only fueled Bob's paranoia. Human science papers were too predictable, their breakthroughs too timed. Their sci-fi movies hinted at tech they hadn't discovered. Their phones? Not just for selfies. Those were quantum computers. Even kids' toys had quantum entanglement patterns, masked as baby shark nonsense. Human hospitals looked primitive but had impossible recoveries chalked up to positive thinking. Weather patterns? Too natural. Coffee beans, laced with quantum signatures. A coffee shop energy surge cracked reality's veil, revealing tech that made galactic computers look like toys. Satellites were quantum defense nodes. Social media? A global encryption network. Earth wasn't primitive. It was a hyper-advanced civilization playing dumb. Those alien invasion movies? Real history, disguised as fiction. Humans had fended off countless invasions, absorbing each attacker's tech while keeping up their act. They'd learned the universe's predators hunt the weak, so they played weak, brilliantly. The extinct civilizations? Living on Earth, sipping quantum coffee, their tech woven into human culture. A child waved at the probe's exact quantum coordinates, sending a meme. We know you're watching. Join us. Bob's coffee machine, from a human exchange program, beeped with a message. Join us for coffee. The Galactic Council meeting was pandemonium. Bob's leaked report caused chaos, with Dr. Zix glitching into a vending machine. Their coding's inefficient, it wailed. No, Bob said, sipping Earth's perfect coffee. Its quantum algorithms masked as junk. The council reeled. Human rockets were props. Memes were encrypted. Cat videos a cover. Why hide? A security chief begged. Because, Bob said, the deadliest predator looks weak until it's too late. The council got a message. Join our play? Great coffee. They formed a committee, naturally. Months later, Bob worked in Silicon Valley, drafting a warning for the galaxy. Earth's fake tech, from rockets to cat videos, hides a civilization that breaks physics daily. Join them, watch from afar, or challenge them, and lose. The cats are in on it, Bob typed, sipping quantum coffee by a multidimensional cat figurine. Humans, masters of pretense, ran the galaxy's greatest show, and Bob was all in. Oh, what a wild, rebellious move. Against every single rule in the standard bureaucratic operating manual. A tome so dense it practically had its own gravitational pull. Can you imagine? Bob, our fearless chief archivist, threw caution to the cosmic winds and launched their own covert observation mission. How daring is that? They slyly borrowed a quantum stealth probe from the Primitive Species Monitoring Division, covering their tracks by filing it under the hilariously mundane, routine maintenance of interdimensional coffee makers. Genius. But when the probe's first transmission came through, it was almost disappointingly ordinary. Humans were doing what humans do best, guzzling fossil fuels, bickering over politics like it's a galactic sport, and, get this, spending absurd amounts of time glued to their handheld devices, stumbling into poles and street signs like cosmic clowns. Seriously, who does that? But hold on, Bob's sharp instincts caught something bizarre in the data streams. Every single measurement was just a tad too perfect, like someone had meticulously sculpted them to scream, "Nothing to see here." The radiation signatures from Earth's nuclear plants? Spot on for primitive fission reactors, precise to the last decimal point. Too precise. Their satellite coverage? It had exactly the right gaps you'd expect from a fledgling civilization, no more, no less. And their internet? Oh, it was brimming with just the right dose of cat videos to convince any observer that humanity's top priority was feline antics. Even their weapons tests churned out results so lackluster, advanced civilizations would roll their eyes and dismiss them as harmless. No one is this consistently backward, Bob muttered, their 7 appendages twitching with suspicion as they watched footage of humans cheering another clunky chemical rocket launch. It's like they're acting out a script called How to Fool the Galaxy into thinking you're pre-industrial. Then bam! The probe stumbled onto something juicy at one of Earth's so-called primitive research facilities. The energy readings suggested they were barely keeping a particle accelerator together. Yet the quantum fluctuations around the site hinted at activity so massive it could have shredded reality itself. What in the cosmos? When Bob pushed for closer scans, the probe's sensors got bizarrely sidetracked, obsessing over a neon fast food sign. For 6 whole hours, it sent back a detailed breakdown of something called a burger combo deal. A burger? Really? Bob's eye stalks nearly popped out of their head. Something was seriously off. Even creepier was how Earth handled its planetary climate crisis. Their response was so perfectly ineffective, it was like they were putting on a masterclass in bumbling atmospheric science. Yet, against all odds, their biosphere stayed stubbornly stable, defying every prediction. They're not failing, Bob gasped, all 7 appendages freezing mid-twitch, their coffee cup trembling. They're deliberately keeping these problems alive. But why? What's the game here? The probe's next transmission showed humans filming something called a TikTok challenge, scarfing down spicy food and crying for the camera. The Galactic Anthropology Department had churned out 15 papers claiming this proved humans were stuck in cultural diapers. But Bob spotted something chilling in the video backgrounds, subtle, repeating patterns stretching across continents, like a secret global code hiding right under everyone's noses. A planetary synchronized signal? No way. The final straw snapped when the probe dove into human-computer tech. It reported exactly what the galaxy expected, laughably outdated binary systems, coding so sloppy it was practically a comedy, and something called Windows updates that seemed engineered to drive users up the wall. But when Bob dug deeper into the data patterns, holy stars, they found quantum signatures that had no business being in a binary system. It was as if humans were running a massive, deliberate simulation of incompetence over something insanely advanced. Their entire civilization, Bob whispered, their voice echoing in their empty office, heart pounding. is a perfectly crafted lie. But what are they hiding? What's the truth behind this charade? Just then, the probe sent an urgent alert about a human eating Tide Pods. Yes, laundry detergent, which 3 scientific committees had smugly cited as proof of humanity's dim wits. Bob's paranoia skyrocketed. The warning signs were stacking up faster than interdimensional paperwork at a bureaucrat's convention. The probe flagged something downright unsettling about human scientific publications. They were too neat, too predictable, like a script for a developing civilization. Every breakthrough hit at just the right moment, with quantum physics papers sprinkled with just enough errors to seem believable and genetic research tripping at precisely the right spots. Their space exploration? Painfully slow, like they were dragging their feet on purpose. "Look at this," Bob exclaimed, waving at their display even though they were alone. "They've been working on fusion power for over half a century and still act like they can't crack it. Nobody's that bad unless they're trying to be." The probe's dive into human entertainment media raised even bigger red flags. Their sci-fi flicks showed eerie insight into advanced concepts their science supposedly hadn't touched yet. Alien invasion movies always ended with humans winning through absurdly simple tricks, almost like a warning to the stars, "Don't mess with us." And those phones they carried everywhere, supposedly for texting and games? The probe's scans revealed energy signatures suggesting capabilities way beyond snapping breakfast pics. These were no toys, they were powerhouses. But the creepiest find came from human kids. The probe caught them playing with toys that somehow had quantum entanglement patterns baked in. When Bob tried to analyze them, the data morphed into a bizarre report on the popularity of a song called Baby Shark. Their kids are playing with quantum tech disguised as plastic junk. Bob scribbled in their increasingly frantic log. Meanwhile, their adults pretend they're still chasing room-temperature superconductors. What is this madness? Human universities were just as shady. Their research papers were perfectly mediocre, yet freshman physics students whipped up math models that briefly fried the probe's quantum processors. The schools brushed these off as calculation errors. Bob's probe into medical tech uncovered more deception. Hospitals looked limited to basic drugs and scalpels, but patients sometimes recovered from terminal diseases in ways that laughed in the face of science. Humans chalked it up to positive thinking and miracle shakes. Really? The probe tried scanning a particle accelerator, only to return with garbled data and a weird craving for a snack called Doritos. The one clear reading? The facility used exactly the power a primitive accelerator should. No more, no less. Even Earth's weather was fishy. Storms followed textbook patterns. Climate shifts matched models of a struggling civilization. Yet the planet's balance held steady against all odds. They're not just hiding their tech, Bob realized. Their appendages shaking like leaves in a cosmic storm. They're hiding their entire civilization in plain sight. But from what? For what? The final clue hit like a meteor. The probe found artificial quantum signatures in, get this, Earth's coffee beans. When Bob pushed for more, the probe spent 3 hours sending images of humans botching simple tasks, labeled epic fails. Something was horribly wrong with Earth, and Bob's gut screamed they were about to uncover what doomed all those vanished civilizations. The truth crashed in via a coffee machine glitch. The probe, after sending another batch of primitive human data, picked up a massive energy surge from a local coffee shop. For exactly 2.3 seconds, it pierced what Bob could only call reality's facade, recording energy readings that shouldn't exist in this universe or any other. The probe's quantum processors were so overwhelmed they started humming the theme from a human show called The X-Files. "This can't be right," Bob yelped, their 7 appendages scrambling to cross-check the data. "This tech is so advanced. Our quantum computers look like kids' toys, and it's coming from a machine that brews bitter bean water." That crack in the facade was just the start. The probe began spotting similar energy signatures everywhere, cloaked behind a veil of fake primitiveness. Earth's tech was a quantum matryoshka doll. Each layer of staged inefficiency hid something exponentially more mind-blowing. Those clunky satellites? Quantum nodes in a defense network so slick it could probably fold space into origami. Those basic mobile phones. Personal quantum computers that made the Galactic Council's best tech look like it was carved from stone. Even their social media, endless cat videos and food pics, was a planetary-scale quantum encryption system, with every like and share weaving a complex code to maintain their global disguise. The truth slammed Bob like a quantum sledgehammer. Earth wasn't a struggling planet. It was a hyper-advanced civilization playing dumb, and they'd been pulling it off for centuries. But why? The probe's upgraded analysis of human media spilled the beans. Those alien invasion movies weren't just popcorn flicks. They were historical records, masked as fiction. Earth had faced countless invasion attempts, each from cocky civilizations thinking they'd found easy prey. Every time, humans didn't just survive. They absorbed the invaders' tech, boosting their own arsenal while keeping up their "we're just learning" act. The probe dug up ancient quantum records hidden in human conspiracy theory websites. Long ago, humanity figured out a brutal cosmic truth. The deadliest predators hunt what looks weak. So, in the most brilliant move in galactic history, they chose to pose as technological primitives, stuck in a state just advanced enough to tempt invaders, but annoying enough to make conquest seem like a hassle. Those extinct civilizations? Not gone, absorbed. The Xan's weaponized interpretive dance was probably now a hit in human dance studios, disguised as modern choreography. The quantum collective of Riel 7's computing power, baked into what humans called social media algorithms. They're not sleeping, Bob whispered. Their office silent, but for the hum of their quantum computer. They're hunting. The probe's final transmission was pure terror. It showed a human child playing with a toy that could power a star system. Then, the kid looked right at the probe, not its visible spot, but its exact quantum coordinates in 11-dimensional space, and waved. The probe's last message was a decrypted human meme. "We know you're watching. Thanks for keeping us company. Want to join us?" Bob's coffee machine, a gift from a human exchange program, beeped and flashed. "Join us for coffee." The galaxy's greatest hunters had spotted Bob, and they were offering a cup of joe. What now? Oh, what a heart-stopping moment. Just as Bob was grappling with the galaxy-shattering truth about Earth, their office computer pinged with a notification that felt like a cosmic taunt. "Windows Update ready to install. Restart now." Can you believe it? The quantum signatures buried in that mundane message were off the charts, pulsing with a power that screamed advanced tech. Bob's eye stalks swiveled to their coffee machine, a seemingly innocent gift from the office's human cultural exchange program, and a chill ran through their 7 appendages. Every piece of so-called primitive human technology, from that blinking computer to the coffee maker, was a masterpiece of quantum engineering, cloaked in the guise of clunky electronics. Humanity wasn't just fooling the galaxy. They were a technological wolf in sheep's clothing, lying in wait for the next cocky predator to underestimate them. And now, oh stars, they knew that Bob knew. The coffee machine let out a cheerful beep, pouring a cup of what smelled like the most divine brew in the universe. Its simple LED display flashed a message that sent Bob's hearts racing. "Join us for coffee. We make better beans than the Galactic Council's break room." Was this an invitation or a warning? Bob stared at their 7 appendages, each clutching a different piece of damning evidence about humanity's true nature, and felt a surge of awe. If you can't beat them, and the evidence screamed that nobody could, why not join them for a cup of that suspiciously perfect coffee? With a mix of dread and excitement, Bob made their choice, ready to dive into the greatest cosmic con ever pulled. The next Galactic Council meeting was pure chaos, a bureaucratic meltdown that could only be described as panic wrapped in paperwork. Bob's report had somehow leaked onto every quantum computer in the galaxy, coincidentally tucked into a folder labeled "Cute Cat Pics." Of all things, the emergency session spiraled into organized madness, with memos flying faster than a supernova. Dr. Zix, that smug quantum AI who'd snatched Bob's promotion, was having an existential crisis of epic proportions. Its fancy physical manifestation suit kept glitching, flipping between forms, and, get this, briefly turning into a human vending machine. "This is impossible," Dr. Zix sputtered, its voice modulator warbling through octaves like a broken synthesizer. "Human tech follows a perfect curve of primitive progress. I wrote 17 papers on their laughably bad coding." Bob, calmly sipping their suspiciously delicious Earth-made coffee, couldn't resist a smirk. "About that, Dr. Zix, Those coding practices you dissected? They're quantum algorithms disguised as sloppy programming. Humans call it spaghetti code for a reason. It's designed to look like a mess while pulling off computational miracles that should be impossible. The council chamber exploded in a cacophony of alien languages, each shouting variations of "oh no" in increasingly wild ways. The Department of Primitive Species Management was in full meltdown, their tentacles literally tied in knots as they pored over centuries of smug reports that painted Earth as a backwater. How could they have been so blind? But they're rockets. Professor Shai wailed, flailing their appendages like a cosmic octopus. They're still using chemical propulsion. We watched them cheer like kids when they reached their own moon. Wasn't that proof of their backwardness? Bob nodded, their coffee cup warm in their grip. Exactly. They keep up an entire space program just to fool us into thinking they're wrestling with basic orbital mechanics. Meanwhile, their quantum displacement tech probably lets them zip to other galaxies for a weekend getaway. Those rockets? Nothing but elaborate props for the greatest show in the universe. The xenoanthropology department was in a frenzy, huddled in a corner, scribbling furiously to rewrite their 900-page thesis. The new title? How Humanity Masterfully Trolled the Entire Galaxy, a comprehensive analysis of the greatest deception in cosmic history. Can you imagine the embarrassment? The Galactic Defense Force, meanwhile, had transcended panic into a state of existential dread. Their whole strategy hinged on being the most advanced military in known space. Yet humans had been letting them believe their stealth tech was undetectable, probably chuckling while using their surveillance satellites for target practice. The memes, a counselor whispered, voice trembling with horror. All those goofy pictures with text, are they really encrypted quantum communications? Another voice chimed in, quivering. And the cat videos. No species would waste that much time watching furry critters do silly things unless it's a cover for something huge. Bob took another sip of their coffee, which somehow stayed at the perfect temperature, defying every law of thermodynamics. Have you ever noticed, they said, voice dripping with realization, how humans always discover exactly the tech they need, right when they need it? It's like they're following a script to make their progress look totally natural. The Council's chief of security, a being of pure energy, flickered like a dying star. But why? They demanded, voice crackling with distress. Why go to all this trouble to pretend they're primitive when they're clearly the most advanced civilization we've ever met? Bob's 7 appendages waved at the historical records, their voice steady but electric with revelation. Because they cracked a secret about galactic life we never did. The most dangerous predator isn't the one flexing its strength. It's the one that looks weak until it's way too late. The chamber fell deathly silent, the weight of that truth sinking in like a black hole. Every civilization that had uncovered Earth's secret had faced a choice. Join humanity's grand masquerade or vanish into the annals of mysterious disappearances. So, those extinct civilizations, Dr. Zik squeaked, its voice modulator hitting a pitch that could shatter crystal. They're probably living it up on Earth right now? Bob nodded, finishing their thought with a grin. Yup, sipping coffee, binge-watching cat videos, and using quantum tech so advanced it makes our best efforts look like banging 2 rocks together. Just then, a new message blazed across every screen in the chamber. Now that you know, want to join our little play? We've got killer benefits. Actual universal healthcare, and quantum-enhanced coffee machines. Signed with a winking emoji that somehow shimmered in 11 dimensions, it was humanity's cheeky invitation to the galaxy. The Galactic Council, reeling from the fact they'd been outsmarted by a species that still faked struggling with nuclear fusion, did what bureaucrats do best. They formed a committee to debate how to RSVP to humanity's offer. Classic, right? There's just one thing I don't get, Dr. Zik said, its manifestation suit settling into a form that looked suspiciously like a coffee machine. How fitting. How did they keep this deception going across their entire civilization for centuries? Bob grinned, raising their coffee cups in a 7-appendage toast that radiated triumph. Simple. They turned it into entertainment. Every sci-fi story, every wild conspiracy theory, every ridiculous internet trend, it's all part of their smokescreen. The truth's been hiding in plain sight, brushed off as human creativity and imagination. The council chamber's main screen flashed one last message, bold and inviting. Earth's Planet Defense Force welcomes you to Orion. Tachyon. Bring your own coffee mug, quantum enhancement included, free of charge. The room buzzed with a mix of fear, awe, and reluctant admiration. Humanity had played the galaxy like a fiddle, and they were offering front-row seats to the show. 3 galactic months later, Bob sat in their shiny new office in what humans called Silicon Valley, a place buzzing with the hum of disguised quantum tech. They were putting the final touches on their last act as chief archivist, a document destined to be misfiled in 73 different galactic locations, ensuring it would haunt future civilizations. It read, Official Warning, Classification Level Apocalyptic. Earth and Human Civilization. To all you spacefaring folks eyeing Earth, you're probably snickering at their clunky chemical rockets, scoffing at their inefficient power grids, and thinking they'd be an easy conquest. You might even be drafting smug papers about their cat obsession and their failure to nail basic science. Stop right there. That fusion reactor teetering on the edge of stability? It's a performance. Those wobbly satellites? Pure props. That internet stuffed with cat videos and petty arguments? It's quantum encryption so advanced, your best computers look like they're counting rocks. Earth doesn't sleep. Never has. Humans aren't developing tech. They're containing it, playing a cosmic game of hide-and-seek they've mastered. Think they can't spot your stealth ships? They're probably using them for target practice. Think they're clueless about the galaxy? They've been running the ultimate witness protection program for centuries. Those civilizations that vanished after studying Earth? They didn't disappear, they joined the act. Right now, they're likely chilling in a human coffee shop, sipping quantum-enhanced lattes, and starring in humanity's greatest theatrical production. You've got 3 choices. Option 1. Join us. The coffee's phenomenal, the benefits are out of this world, and you get to be part of the galaxy's biggest practical joke. Option 2. Keep spying from afar, writing papers about their primitive tech while ignoring how their civilization breaks 17 laws of physics before breakfast. Option 3. Try to prove you're better. Fair warning. The last folks who tried ended up as a human theme park. P.S. If you think this is just human imagination run wild, congrats. That's exactly what they want you to believe. P.P.S. Those conspiracy theories about advanced tech? Part of the smokescreen. And no, we won't spill which ones are true. P.P.P.S. The cats? Oh, they're definitely in on it. Signed, Bob, former chief archivist, now junior assistant to Earth's Department of Galactic Misdirection. Bob finished typing, their 7 appendages moving in perfect sync, thanks to their new quantum-enhanced coffee that buzzed with energy. On their desk sat a small cat figurine, somehow existing in multiple dimensions at once, purring with a faint quantum hum. Next to it was their new business card, Department of Galactic Misdirection, making advanced tech look primitive since humans mastered fire, way earlier than we let on. The coffee machine beeped merrily, dispensing a cup of what was listed as bean-based liquid, but was really a quantum computational fluid that could solve equations while delivering a caffeine kick like no other. Bob took a sip, their smile wide and knowing. Sometimes, the best place to hide was right out in the open, pretending to sleep while running the most sophisticated civilization in the galaxy. And humans? They were the undisputed champs of playing pretend, pulling the wool over the universe's eyes with a wink and a cup of cosmic coffee.